With a franchise as massive as Pokémon, fans are bound to devise their own eerie content and twists. Some have created tales of hacked game jutsus, fake Easter eggs, and even alternate dialogues for various games in the series, becoming makeshift Pokémon ghost stories and tall tales. Fan theories are different. They struggle to find understanding within the universe of the games and its big mysteries. By working with subtle hints and clues, these theories can often become dark, exploring harsh realities and shocking implications behind the game's descriptions and vague world-building histories. Number 10. The Pokémon War. One of the big questions for the original Red, Green, and Blue games is why there are only young children and the elderly running around in the games, while there are a few middle-aged women and men. Red, the main protagonist and player avatar, has no father to speak of, and Blue, Red's rival, does not appear to have any parents. In fact, there seem to be very few adults besides the gym leaders. Fans theorize the reason for the strange lack of adults is because of a war in the Kanto region, where the first games take place. Lieutenant Surge, the gym leader in Vermilion City, describes how electric-type Pokémon saved him during the war. Since the games take place in a fictional universe, Lieutenant Surge is not referring to any historical conflicts. Some people speculate that there was a war in Kanto with massive casualties, causing a gap in generations. This explains why Professor Oak gives a Pokédex to every new trainer who ventures out into the world. This would be an effective way to either collect or verify information lost during the war, and to determine which species of Pokémon survived the conflict. Number 9. The death of Blue's Raticate. Lavender Town is the center of a lot of fan theories because of the Pokémon Tower, a giant graveyard for dead Pokémon. In the Red, Green, and Blue games, you find Blue in said graveyard and battle him. But something is different. His Raticate, which he has used in every battle up until this point, is now gone. Sure, Blue could have switched out his Raticate for stronger Pokémon or traded it to another trainer, but what if something more sinister occurred? There is a rumor that in the original versions of the games released in Japanese, Blue asks if Red knows what it's like for Pokémon to die before they battle each other. The last time players see Blue's Raticate is on the SS Anne, which Red manages to escape before it left the dock. The theory is basically that Raticate was severely injured in the battle on the cruise ship but was not taken to a Poké Center in time, resulting in Raticate's death. The reason Gary, or Blue, is in the Pokémon Tower in the first place is to bury and mourn his lost Raticate. Nothing says a kid's game quite like dead pets. Number 8. Cubone is a mutated baby Kangaskhan. Sometimes a theory becomes so prominent and widely accepted that fans start to believe it was the developer's intention all along, and we're just waiting on some leaked concept art or creator commentary to seal the deal. One widespread theory on the nature of Cubone's origins fit that bill. It asserts that when a Kangaskhan dies, her baby takes her skull and wears it, becoming a Cubone and starting a different evolution path. Morbid, right? This theory is supported by the fact that a baby Kangaskhan has a model nearly identical to that of a Cubone, with only slight color differentiation. Furthermore, both Pokémon share a uniquely strong mother-child connection, and no one really knows what happens to a baby Kangaskhan as it ages. The idea has become so popular that some claim it to be a fact, and assert that Red and Blue's infamous missing no glitch was actually intended to be the bridging evolution between Cubone and Kangaskhan before it was removed. Ah man, talk about mommy issues. Number 7. Death in the Pokémon world. There are several ghost-type Pokémon, but there's never a clear definition of what death entails in the Pokémon world. Pokémon can die, but their lifespans are unknown. One prominent theory on the ghost type's purpose is that they help regulate the world around them. Yamask is a Generation 5 Pokémon whose Pokédex entry claims it was not only once human and remembers its past life, but also the mask it carries is of its original human weep. The Pokédex also say that a Yamask will look at its mask and cry. As if the dead reincarnating into Pokémon wasn't spooky enough for you. One Pokémon acts as the Grim Reaper of children. Duskull is a Generation 3 Pokémon described as enjoying children crying and, in an old wife's tales, takes bad children away. Lampent, a Generation 5 Pokémon, will steal your spirit and hang around in hospitals, waiting for people to die. So, to recap, some Pokémon are the dead coming back, and others are forces of nature who have come to facilitate death. Not creepy at all. Not creepy at all. Number 6. N is in reality a Solrock. N is a character from Pokémon Black, White, Black 2 and White 2. He is the puppet leader of Team Plasma, which wants to separate worlds for humans and Pokémon. There is a question about whether or not N is actually human and not just a Pokémon, Solrock casting an illusion. Consider the facts. In one part of the Black and White 2 games, you'll follow a Solrock into a set of ruins and find N there, with the Solrock missing. Their hair is similarly shaped. N was raised among Pokémon and can understand them, and he speaks unnaturally fast and awkwardly throughout the games. Solrocks have been known to appear as humans in the Black and White games and can sometimes copy the speech patterns of whom they are pretending to be. It would make more sense for a Pokémon to want to separate the world, seeing how often they are abused and used as tools to gain power by their trainers. Number 5. Dittos are corrupted Mews. Generation's one second favorite legendary critter, Mew, could be regarded as the ultimate Pokémon, since it's technically all of them at once. Its genetic code contains DNA of every Pokémon in existence, and it can transform into any one at its leisure. There's only one other Pokémon capable of pulling that trick, Ditto, the Mimic Blob, and that's not the only similarity they share. In fact, they have enough in common that some have theorized Ditto are Mew. They've just been corrupted. The evidence for this one is simple, but compelling. Ditto and Mew are the only two Pokémon that can use Transform. They have the same coloration, both in their normal and shiny forms. They, stay with me here, weigh the same amount at 8.8 pounds. Altogether, these small commonalities create a semblance that's actually pretty convincing. What corrupted the Ditto Mews is anyone's guess. Maybe they were failed clones. There's actually an established lore in Pokémon that scientists have tried to clone Mew. That's why Mewtwo exists. Or transform so much that they forgot what they used to be. But in any case, the resemblance is uncanny. And really, what's a little amorphous blobbery amongst family? Number 4. Wobbuffet's decoy body. If someone were to compile a list of the most annoying Pokémon, Wobbuffet would likely be near the top due to its shrill voice and its nearly constant presence in the games, not to mention the anime. This Generation 2 Pokémon has a bright, incredibly durable blue body and a dark-tailed adorned with designs that look like eyes. But are they just designs? Some fans theorize that the blue portion of Wobbuffet is not the actual body, but merely a decoy for the real body, the tail. This would explain why Wobbuffet has such a high endurance for attacks. Several Pokédex entries claim that Wobbuffet will protect its tail at all costs, which would make sense if that's where its brain was. Wobbuffet's eyes on its blue body never move or change shape, and the black tail always peeks out from behind, so it's plausible its real face is on its tail. If this theory is true, Wobbuffet is now more disturbing than annoying, and that's not a good thing. Number 3. The Empty Moon Theories. In the first few games, Empty Moon is one of the more mysterious areas in the Kanto region. Located in Pewter City, the mountain has rare moonstones and Pokémon fossils. But why is this the only particular landmark to contain these unusual finds? One theory is that Empty Moon isn't a mountain at all, but rather a dormant volcano that erupted centuries ago, covering the area in magma and giving Pewter City its rocky namesake. Others guess a meteor struck the area, leaving behind moonstones and causing a mass extinction of Pokémon living there, leaving behind the fossils to be revived later. A third and certainly more bizarre theory is that Clefairies came from space and colonized Empty Moon, bringing with them moonstones and make it their home. Or you can believe all three happened at different times in Pokemon history, because nothing is set in stone. Number 2. Humanity's relationship with Pokemon. There has always been an unquestioned relationship between humans and Pokemon, with humans as the masters and Pokemon as the fighters, breeding machines and beauty contestants. Why do humans have dominance over Pokemon? Despite being of many different species, Pokemon are able to communicate with each other, showing a level of consciousness shared by humans, and there are just as many Pokemon as there are humans, if not more. One theory is that humans are just non-evolving Pokemon. After all, humans can learn abilities, attack, and have to heal from injuries. The only reason human Pokemon are dominant is because they can build structures and create Pokeballs. Another theory is that humans are not native to the world of Pokemon. It is possible that humans invaded the regions or the entire planet where Pokemon were, after their own living conditions became hostile. This would explain why there are plenty of Pokemon fossils but no human ones ever mentioned. Essentially, this theory says that humans came and enslaved an entire world full of innocent creatures for the sake of our livelihood and entertainment. Number 1. The origins of Missing No. Missing No, an abbreviation of missing number, is a glitch first found in the red, green, and blue versions of the game, but it also appears in Pokemon Yellow. A generally accepted theory is that Missing No is a Pokemon that the developers created but didn't pan out, and they never removed it entirely from the game's code. Some believe Marowak was supposed to evolve into Kangaskhan in the original game, which makes the above Cubone theory true. They made a last-minute decision to make Kangaskhan its own Pokemon that wouldn't evolve, and so the programmers, rather than changing all code, moved the evolution to a number that didn't exist in the game, creating a missing number, or Missing No. A more disturbing theory is that Missing No is what happens when Pokemon are left in their Pokeballs for an extended amount of time. Since Pokemon can be transferred and stored electronically, it is assumed that Pokemon are either made up or have the ability to be translated into data. Therefore, the theory is that the Pokemon which is left in the Pokeball for too long will have its data corrupted and will become a Missing No. Makes you wonder whatever happened to that old copy of Pokemon Yellow, doesn't it?